I traveled to Russia to look for war jobs through tourist visa, and the government of Russia has fooled me totally to turn to their soldiers and go for their war between the Ukrainians. And I was captured through the Ukrainian soldiers. The Ukrainians with the Ukrainians territory, and I was captured. So I'm appealing to my government, to my President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I'm appealing this to you, and to forgive your sons.
Have you ever signed a paper you couldn't read? That's what happened to this Nigerian man named Abubakar Adamu. You see, he thought he was getting a security guard job, but he ended up in a Russian army unit on the front line of a war that he had absolutely nothing to do with, but he signed anyway. You see, Adamu traveled to Russia in November 2025 with 3 other Nigerian men. Their names were Adam Anas, Akinlawon Tunde Kuyum, and Abugu Stanley Onyeka. A recruiter back home in Nigeria named Emiola Mohammed had promised them all security jobs in Russia with a rewarding pay. And that's the pitch that is used all over Africa right now. And so the Russian embassy back in Abuja apparently just cleared them, no fingerprint, no real background check, just a tourist visa stamped and done. And together, they left for Russia. And so, once they landed in Russia, things changed. No translator, no explanation. A contract was just shoved in front of them, and a room full of Russian soldiers watched them sign it. The recruits couldn't understand the language, and they weren't even allowed to use their phones to even translate. Right after they put pen to paper, military training started. Training lasted about 3 weeks. 3 weeks to turn a mechanic or a security guard into a soldier for war. Welcome back to the Giants of Africa. My name is Damilola Emmanuel Adefarkan. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe, like our videos. We want to hear comments in the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on post notifications so you get updates anytime we release new videos. Back to the story for today. So after training, things got brutal on the battlefield. Anas, Kuyum, and Onyeka all died on the front line between December 2025 and January 2026, each on a different date. And so a 4th man, Balogun Ridwan Adisa, who had been recruited earlier in the year, also died. So that makes a sum of 4 Nigerians dead while fighting for Russia against Ukraine, and their families back home had absolutely no idea. Nobody from the Russian military called. Nobody sent a letter, and the way the families found out was almost unbelievable. News of the deaths first surfaced in a secret WhatsApp group which was run by African mercenaries fighting for Russia, where a photo of Anas's body was posted by one of the fellow fighters. Now, Adamu was the only one who made it out alive. And even that's complicated because he's currently being held in Russia, detained under a specific military division, which is still technically enlisted in. Adamu is appealing through a lawyer for the Nigerian government to help bring him back home. Now, here's the crazy part. Even if he gets back home to Nigeria, he's not a free man. And that's because under the Nigerian law, fighting as a mercenary for a foreign army is a crime which attracts sentencing of up to life in prison. And so the man who got tricked into a war might end up coming home to a prison cell. Chai! So now you would think this was some rare one-off tragedy, but it wasn't. Because you know what? On February 12th, 2026, Ukraine's military released photos of 2 more dead Nigerians who were found in the Luhansk region. Their names were Hamzat Kazim Kolawole and Mba Stephen Udoka. Now, Kolawole had signed his Russian army contract way back in August 2025, and Udoka signed a month later in September. Neither man had any military training whatsoever. Ukrainian intelligence said they were trying to storm a Ukrainian position, and then they were hit by a drone strike. But now the question is, who is actually doing the recruiting? Because you see, it turns out that there's an actual business model here, and it runs right through Nigeria and Africa in general. Investigators pointed to a Port Harcourt travel agency called St. Fortune's Travels and Logistics, which is run by a woman named Fortune Chimene Amawule. You see, the agency had been openly advertising Russian army enlistment on social media and even on billboards since 2022, promising fast citizenship and big salaries. Recruiters would post on Facebook, Instagram, Telegram, TikTok, and all the other places young people already scroll through on a daily basis. The pitch usually shows off Moscow skyscrapers and shiny cars, dangling wealth in front of the guys with no other options. You see, fundamentally, the promises sound incredible on paper. Bonuses worth thousands of dollars, monthly salaries between $2,000 and $2,500, and they even promise a fast track to Russian citizenship once their contracts are done. But you see, almost none of it is real. Once these men are actually in Russia, their wages go unpaid, money gets skimmed off by recruiters and commanders, and whatever does get paid is way below what was promised. Now, Ukrainian intelligence says at least 215 Nigerians are confirmed to have signed contracts with Russia's defense ministry. And out of that group, at least 25 are already dead or missing. Now, a separate investigation called The Business of Despair, published by a group called All Eyes on Wagner, dug even deeper. Now, after the investigation, they found 36 Nigerians recruited into the war, with 5 confirmed dead. Abdullahi Isaka Ismail, who was 27 years old, Agbo Moses Omale, 43 years, Adamu Abdullahi Ismail, 25, a man also known as Michael, 47, and Fajobi Taiwo Omoniyi, who was 50 years old. Now zoom out even further for a second, because it gets worse. The same report tracked 1,417 African recruits total between 2023 and mid-2025, with an overall death toll across the continent already sitting at 316. And that number is described as incomplete. Kenyans, Ugandans, Ghanaians, Sierra Leoneans, Nigerians, all dying for Russia. And the man representing Russia in Nigeria, guess what? He looked at all of this and just said none of it is his government's doing. Yes, Russia's ambassador to Nigeria has publicly denied that the Kremlin is recruiting Nigerian citizens for the war at all. Now, somewhere in Russia right now, there are Nigerian men sitting in barracks with phones confiscated. There are families still waiting on a phone call that isn't going to come because they died for Russia.
What a terrible case, Mr. Damilola.
Yes, sir.
Terrible.
Yes, extremely terrible.
Okay, so Dami,
Yes, sir.
who is more guilty? Is it Russia for recruiting or Nigeria for failing these men?
I would say that they both share responsibility somewhat, because those who are responsible for recruiting the Nigerians, if the evidence comes to light that they actually deceptively carried that out, obviously they are also to blame. But then again, you can't really blame the Nigerians because there's a high level of unemployment in the country. So it's like people are looking for greener pastures elsewhere. And when opportunities pop up, they rush and try and grab a hold of it because they feel like anywhere is better than Nigeria at that point in time. So it's not really a one-sided responsibility. You can't blame it solely on one side. But then again, if evidence comes to light that these people were not aware that they were essentially being recruited for military purposes, those people have to be punished. The full weight of the law must descend on them.
Right. But do you think these guys were totally oblivious about what they were getting themselves into? Or do you think they knew, but they went anyway? Because news of Africans being killed in Russia, fighting for Russia, were trending all over the news. Do you think they knew, but went anyway?
Even if they knew, they didn't know the extent of the damage that was being done or the mayhem that was happening.
It was all over in the news. We were fighting for Russia, being killed by the Ukrainian soldiers, all over the news.
So essentially, if they did know, it's either they didn't know the extent or they didn't. Obviously, they probably felt that wherever they were at that point in time is probably better than Nigeria.
Okay, okay. So Nigeria is death
Because
itself.
at least there's a fighting chance. Because if somebody tells you you're going to be paid $2,500, you're at that point in time you're money deaf.
Exactly.
All you can think about is 2,000. What if I can survive? If I can survive, that's $2,000 to $2,500 in my account.
And the thing is, there were actually soldiers, Nigerian soldiers, African soldiers online,
Yes.
flaunting the money they were earning over there.
Exactly.
So
Not
probably,
everybody
yeah,
was dying.
Yeah. So they were enticed.
Yes. And most of the time, when you hear those figures, you start asking yourself, what ifs? What if I survive? What if I'm the only one who makes it through and I can be able to make that money? You see, sometimes frustration and desperation can put you in certain, because it's like, if I'm already dying of poverty in Nigeria,
Exactly.
Even if I died there, at least I died going after money.
Exactly. All right.
Yes.
Okay, so if Adamu, all right, comes home now, should the Nigerian government prosecute him or should they protect him?
Prosecuting him should not be the immediate thing they do. They have to, first of all, I would say that if he was genuinely misled, then the focus should be on protecting him, not punishing him, because it's not his fault. He acted out of desperation. So if he was misled, then those who perpetuated the deception are the ones, the recruiters are the ones who should face the consequences of the law,
Exactly.
not he himself. The government's aim should be on protecting and to be on rectifying the issue, not just directly dishing out punishment on him.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. Well said. Well said. All right. So would you sign a contract you couldn't read for $2,000
Absolutely.
a month?
Absolutely not. I think that is
$2,000 a month.
yeah, it's good money, but it's not worth signing my life over.
But here's the case: you have no idea it's worth your life. It's in Russian. Probably you thought, oh, it's just about normal military events and all.
I personally won't, because if I don't understand what I'm
Are
saying,
you saying this from hindsight?
no, not from hindsight, just my personal belief.
Okay.
As a rational thinking human
Okay.
being, if a document is presented to me and I don't understand any clause in the document, I'm not signing it.
Even if it's English.
Yes, even if it's
Okay.
English, I'm going to go and look for, learned minds.
Exactly.
Somebody who understands, maybe a lawyer.
Exactly.
I'll try and understand the legalities and the intricacies of it
Exactly.
before I sign. I'm not, especially if the document is in Russian, that is even extreme. Even English, I'll look for a second hand
Exactly.
or a second thought or view. Now it's in Russian. You have absolutely no idea what they are doing.
But in this case, all right, the documents were signed in a military camp. They had no choice. You either sign or you sign.
Yes, but you see, the question is this. The question you are putting across to me is that if a document is presented to me of that sort, what would I do?
Okay, all right.
Now,
all right. That's fair.
the thing too is also in that particular scenario you just painted, if I was there and there was a gun to my, because the question is, what was happening? Was there a gun to my head where I had no option of backing out? If there was an option to back out and not sign the document, somebody there could have taken that opt out. Do you get what I mean? But if it was like, okay, do or die affair, then obviously you might have no chance but to sign.
Exactly.
Choice but to sign.
Exactly.
So this is where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
So if there was an option of not signing and still keeping your life, I would have taken that. But if it was like a gun to my head, then I would have no option than to sign.
I think it was a door of no return.
Yes. In such a case, I would sign. But if
Yeah.
the question is, would I sign a document I have no idea what it entails? That's no.
You wouldn't do that.
Yes.
All right. So a silence from the Russian government, from Putin's end, complicity or just politics?
So I believe that if the question again,
Putin is not talking about this. He's not making any word about this. He's been silent throughout. Africans are dying in Russia. All right. And there's no word from Putin's government. So do you think probably he condones to that?
you see, silence doesn't prove guilt in any regard. But at the same time, it doesn't help the case. So it's a very weird gray area. But the thing is that if you notice, civilian governments don't really like to interfere in matters of military concern because there could be a conflict of interest there. But the thing is that I feel like the requisite investigations need to be carried out. And whatever evidence that comes to light is what the government should act upon. So that's where I'm coming from. I wouldn't say their silence means they are guilty or they are aware.
But as president, you oversee the military. You are basically the head of military as president.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
And Putin has an idea of the ongoing war between his country and Ukraine. So basically, in a nutshell, he has some idea.
Yes, but still, I mean, I feel like investigations still have to go on and everything carried out before they can really make any comment on it. It's just historically, governments, especially civilian government, don't like to mingle in military affairs. And so if there's no full proof of what is happening and investigations have not been carried out to the full extent, you would hardly see government come to talk about military engagement or consent.
But in this case, Ukrainian soldiers are arresting African soldiers, parading them on media. All right?
Yeah.
So obviously, Putin is going to get word of it.
Yes.
The African soldiers, not even just Africans, South Americans, Asians, are all fighting for Russia. So don't you think he's aware of this?
Well,
and he's choosing to remain silent? Or do you want to be diplomatic?
No, I don't want to be diplomatic. Not at all. I guess. What are your thoughts? You think that he knows?
Are you throwing my question back to me?
No, I'm just asking. I want to know what you think.
He's scared of Putin?
No, that's Putin know me. I mean, it's a very gray area.
So, if unemployment is the real recruiter, does punishing the men Russia used solve anything?
Punishing the men Russia used?
Yes.
So that is like the Nigerians and...
Yes. Yeah, it's against Nigerian law.
Yes.
So does punishing them solve anything?
You see, the thing is that you can't arrest desperation. You can't arrest somebody for their desperation. If there was enough job opportunities in Nigeria, we would not even be having this discussion in the very first place.
True.
So the issue is this: what is Nigeria doing to solve the unemployment crisis? You cannot blame the men for looking for greener pastures.
Okay. Fair point.
Yes.
Now, Emiola Mohammed pocketed money sending them, the men, all right, to die in Russia. What should happen to recruiters like him?
He or she has to be put to the full extent of the law. And I would even go as far as saying that it must be like the trial process must be done publicly. That's because it would serve as a deterrent to those who are doing that or those who have the mind to actually do that. That's what I genuinely believe. The person should be punished drastically.
All right.
Yes.
All right.
If you're enjoying this video, don't forget to like, okay? Leave a comment in the comment section below. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell button below so you get updates anytime we release new videos. Catch you guys in the next one. Stick and stay. Peace.